So guys, in this video, I'm talking about 10 the most obscure signs of autism that you probably haven't really come across, but we're going to go through all of them right now. Guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. My name is Dan and I have autism and ADHD. So if you're new around here and you want to learn about this type of stuff, make sure to hit the subscribe button by clicking that notification bell down below and following on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook if you're watching on those platforms. Right, so signs of autism. Look, we all know like the typical signs of autism, right? And I've come across these myself, right? Where, you know, lack of eye contact, the love of routine, social issues, all those things are typically the things that we all know about, right? But there are some really obscure ones, and I want to go through 10 of them right now. So before I do that, I just want to let you know I do have a free Autism Life Hacks PDF book that you can get right now from autismtips.net. You can actually get it from the link in my bio, and I'll try and link it here on a card somewhere on YouTube and leave it in a comment somewhere if you're watching on Facebook. Okay, so number one is hypo and hypersensitivity. Now, we all know that autistic individuals will have hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity. Now, hypersensitivity means that you're overly stimulated with lights, like, oh, you know, light's too bright. But hypostimulation means that you're understimulated from lights, like, oh, there's not enough light, I need more light. Now, a lot of the time, autistic individuals will be hypersensitive to something, or they'll be hyposensitive to something. But one of the most odd and strange things that happened is that autistic individuals can be also hypersensitive to something and hyposensitive to something else at the same time. So you can be hyposensitive to smells, but hypersensitive to touch, which is super interesting because a lot of the time it's either one or the other, right? You've got hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity. However, you can have both of them run simultaneously for different things or different input. That just like boggles my mind. I think it's just absolutely phenomenal. This thing behind me, this is a periodic table blanket. If you don't know, I'm a chemist. I did a degree in chemistry, and my girlfriend got me this blanket, which is a periodic table. Love it. Periodic table blanket. We've been working in the office here, both of us together, so she's been snuggling up with that blanket, but I thought I'd tell you about it because it's behind me right now. You're probably thinking, Dan, what on earth is that behind you? But get on with the video. Nobody cares about the blanket, Dan. And you're right, nobody cares. But if you're interested, I'll leave a link for it in the description down below. Okay, so in terms, and if I don't have a description down below, like if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, it'll be the link in my bio. I'll leave a little link there for things I mention in my videos. The next one is fast talking. This is so interesting. So you'd think that people with, you know, a developmental condition like autism, who have issues with social communication and communication as a whole, would have issues with the speed in which they talk, and you probably more likely think that they would slow down their speech so they could really understand what they were saying. This is quite on the contrary. Most autistic individuals, not every single one, but most, will talk really fast. You guys always say it about my videos, like, Dad, slow down. You're talking too fast. And I'm like, guys, I may be talking too fast, and I'm sorry. Love each and every one of you. By the way, guys, these are blue light glasses. I'm trying them out, and I just thought I'd show you because, like, do they work? Do they look good? If they look good, give this video a thumbs up. If they look bad, give me a comment saying, Dan, don't wear those glasses. So, talking fast is probably one of my big downfalls. If you are a person on the autism spectrum and you don't talk fast, I want to know. Because this is really interesting. Most autistic individuals I know talk really fast. I also have ADHD, so it kind of crosses over, and I get like super fast, especially when I'm talking about something I'm very excited about. I'll be like, and it kind of gets a bit crazy. But crazy in a good way, right? We're all a bit crazy, but crazy in a good way. Right. Unusual speech patterns. Autistic individuals will have extremely unusual speech patterns. And this happens because the way in which we learn our vocabulary or lexicon is dependent on how we've been exposed to things. So I was exposed to a lot of American television. I'm from the UK. I was born in the UK and raised near London and Wales. And so I have a unusual accent. It's transatlantic because I learned to speak by watching American cartoons, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. These things were my jam, right? Like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Ren and Stimpy, all these things growing up were my jam. So I grew up learning to speak with those accents, right? However, my lexicon, like the words I choose to speak, sometimes are quite interesting. Like my girlfriend always says to me, like, you use very big words. She's also autistic, but she is second language English. So it's interesting. So she sees me using quite big words to describe things when there's really no need for such big words. But yeah, unusual speech patterns are very, very interesting. Okay, number 4 is literal understanding of spoken words. So if somebody says something to an autistic person, hey, And this is a real life example. I remember once I was drinking tea in a canteen when I was on a course in college, and one of the other women on the course, Heather, was like, "Hey Dan, do me a favor, are you going to take your cup out to the kitchen?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well," and she was eating a banana. She put the banana peel in the cup. She goes, "Oh, can you take this out and put that in the bin for me?" I was like, "All right." So I threw the cup and the banana in the bin, and then put my cup in the sink. I came back and she's like, "Where's my cup?" I was like, "Well, I threw it in the bin." She said, "Well, obviously don't throw the cup in the bin. I meant the banana peel. Put the cup in the sink." I was like, "Oh, nod." So taking things very literally, because we see things as they are. Like, face value is a term. Like, okay, well, this is how it is. It must be like that. And that's really fascinating. It's so interesting. Number 5 is unusual posture. Sometimes you'll notice that people with autism have unusual posture or unusual body, kind of like they feel almost unusual in their own skin. I have this quite a lot. I don't know how to stand, how to sit, especially if I've got like less clothes on. Like if you go to the swimming pool, like I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to be conducting myself as I walk with very little clothes on. I find this quite interesting. But more importantly, how do I stand? What do I do with my arms? I find this when I'm sitting down watching television. I'm like, what do I do? Do I just sit down looking at the TV, or do I smile, or do I lean? Do I lay back? Like, it's really weird. I don't really know. So I don't really watch that much television because I'm not entirely sure the etiquette of what to do when you sit down watching television. So I just stay at my desk on this chair because the squeakiest chair in the world. I referenced this in the last video. Big thumbs up if you know about the squeaky chair reference from the last video. Anyway, so number 6 is object attachment. Like, we get attached to objects, and it's so interesting. And what I mean by this is that we give objects personality, and because we give them personality, we give them kind of like this I don't know, an affinity that we have with them. Affinity meaning a likeness for, like some kind of like we have a love for these objects. Like I used to name my cars, like Tony the Ghost was my first car, and I miss Tony the Ghost. Great car, but I had some attachment to it, and getting rid of it was crazy. Like when I get rid of a pair of shoes, I'm always like, oh, dang, when a pen runs out, it's the worst. When a pen runs out, I'm like, no, goodbye, old friend. Like it's sad, right? But it's quite interesting. This is something that's very, very interesting. And if you relate to the pen thing, drop me a comment. I want to know where you are. I can see you, kind of. Okay, so autistic people are people who are super hyperactive, super energetic. They're doing a lot of things at once. Their brain is going 1,000 miles an hour, yet we cannot sleep at night. You'd think we'd be absolutely knackered through to our skin because we just do all these things. And I know all these parents of autistic kids are like, hey, my kid is on the autism spectrum. We should climb in the house all day, like going crazy. Yet you won't sleep. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a really unusual but very common trait of having autism. We have difficulty sleeping. I think it's because our minds are racing also until they never slow down. It's very difficult, but medication and some therapies may help. Okay, this is the best one. The next one is the 3-drink problem. I did a video all about this. I'm going to try and link the 3-drink problem video down below in the about section of this video. And the 3-drink problem is that autistic people will have more than one beverage on the go at any one time. They'll have a cold drink and a hot drink and then a fun drink or a fizzy drink and a fruit juice and a hot drink all the time. I always have 3 drinks on the go. I literally just took down 2 other cups. I had a cup of tea and a fizzy drink, and I have my water here. But I just took down those other 2 to kind of make some room on my desk. How funny is that? It's such an interesting thing, and it's a very neurodivergent thing to do. Very, very interesting. Okay, the other one is, the next one is interest fields may be oddly obscure. Now, this means that people with autism may have an interest in random things, like the most random things you ever think, but they'll become the expert in those most random things. You're going to love this. My most random special interest is taking pictures of mattresses, secondhand mattresses that have been thrown out onto the street. I just want to interject in this video here to let you know that confidence is one of the main issues that holds autistic individuals back from their full potential. This is why I made a course which is the Chaos to Confidence in 90 Days Blueprint, which means I can take an autistic person from complete chaos to being very confident and acing their life. So if you're an autistic adult and you want access to this program, you can check it out. The link is in the description down below, or you can go to theaspyworld.com/C2C right now, the number 2, and get access to this program. And so it becomes such an obsession. My girlfriend even takes pictures for me when she's in Canada or when I'm here. We take pictures of mattresses, and I have a large collection of these. I know it sounds completely bonkers, but it's something that I really enjoy and I like. And so autistic individuals will have maybe some obscure interest, which is really, really interesting. Now, the last one, number 10, and my most favorite, is that autistic individuals can work awesomely good under pressure. And what I mean by this is that if we have an essay or a deadline in work or something that we need to do, we will procrastinate like absolute kings, and we will just like, yeah, we'll get it done tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and we're like, uh-oh. But we managed to pull it off in literally minutes. We can get an entire week's work done in 14 minutes. And that is a testament. My peeps, I love you guys. All right, let's go. I love you. Peace.